Now let's take a look at formulating a thesis statement. Many beginning writers make the mistake of underestimating the importance of a thesis statement, or of confusing it with the topic or a statement of purpose of the essay. The thesis is an explicit statement, usually a single sentence, that expresses the central point the writer wishes to make. It is the summary of all the individual elements in your paper that relate to your topic. The thesis is what holds the essay together and gives it direction. Without a good thesis, you will likely have a poorly organized essay. Now let's take a look at some steps that should help you formulate a thesis statement that will work to your advantage by giving focus, coherence, and organization to your essay. Step 1. After you have discovered your topic and have brainstormed it thoroughly, as we did in class with our exercise regarding good teachers, you now must state what is a key component of the thesis statement: the subject. The subject of your thesis sentence states the narrowed, restricted topic of your essay. It tells what your essay will be about. The subject part of the thesis sentence says simply that you will discuss not just teachers, but good teachers. Putting a subject in a thesis statement is easy by now, since by brainstorming you have already arrived at a fairly restricted subject. However, that is not to say that you cannot further revise the subject at this stage. Remember that we limited our topic further to the relationship good teachers have with their students. Be sure that the subject you choose is restricted enough to give the reader a clear and thorough treatment of it in the length of the essay required. Too broad a subject will result in a discussion that is too general and superficial, while too narrow a subject will leave you with nothing to say after 1 or 2 sentences. Step 2. The other key component of a thesis statement, the focus, is usually the predicate portion of your sentence, that portion which asserts exactly what you intend to say about your subject. The focus is not as easy to formulate as the subject, and many beginning writers tend to neglect it. This oversight is a fatal mistake. Imagine an essay that begins, "There are many good teachers at my school." The reader, right before falling asleep or throwing the paper into the trash, will reply, "So what?" It is not enough to say that there are good teachers out there. You must be able to say something about them. "The best teachers have 3 qualities in common," or "Mrs. Jones, the best teacher I ever had, cared about her students both in and out of the classroom." To arrive at a focus, in class you will take a look at our subtopic, relationship with students, and see how we can group the details. As well as helping to restrict your subject, the groupings of details furnish you the specific terms with which to compose a tentative thesis statement. Once you have a specific subject and a clearer focus in front of you, you are better prepared to organize and present your material. You have taken your random thoughts and formed them into a cohesive whole. Step 3. Because you have identified a specific audience that may not be easy to convince, make certain your thesis is precise, concise, and unified. By being precise, you make certain that no word is ambiguous or unclear. Say clearly what you mean and what you intend to discuss. Don't tell your reader that Mrs. Jones, my favorite teacher, was interesting and nice, although she probably was both. Even if your audience is the least bit interested in this insightful observation, the point will be almost impossible to prove. How does one define nice? Was she friendly, polite, cheerful, caring? Nice means all these things and none of them. And the word interesting runs the gamut from being able to tell the best jokes of anyone on the faculty to having an extensive collection of World War II artillery shells. Use specific, concrete words rather than vague, general terms. Being concise comes from taking the time to choose the most precise words and phrases, those that say exactly what you want to say and that will be easy to develop in the body of the essay. In addition, you must state succinctly what your intention is and no more. Consider this thesis sentence. "Mrs. Jones was the best teacher I ever had because she cared for her students. That is, she always had a kind word for everyone, and she helped us study for the tests." After a thesis like that, there will be little left to discuss in the rest of the paper. Remember, although your purpose in the essay is to present, explain, or argue an idea, the thesis statement is not the place to begin your argument or explanation. It is only to sum up or to defend your position, sometimes referred to as the method of approach. Mrs. Jones was the best teacher I ever had because she cared for her students, indicates what you are going to discuss, but does not reveal the whole essay in the opening paragraph. Finally, unless your essay is a lengthy one, make certain your thesis statement contains a single issue or idea. Otherwise, the scope of your essay will be too broad and your supporting examples too general to be convincing. A unified thesis statement reduces the possibility of unity violations in the body of the essay. Mrs. Jones, the best teacher I ever had, cared about her students. That is, she always had a kind word for everyone, even though she never had much to say to my friend Hortense. Aside from being wordy and too precise, this sentence violates unity in that it wanders off to the subject of Hortense. A well-focused thesis statement reduces the ever-present potential for violations of unity in the body of the essay. Here are a few suggestions to make your thesis sentence work for you and not against you. Avoid the obvious. While you want to make it clear to your audience what you intend to do, never say, "In this paper I will." Statements like this are dull, plodding, and unsubtle. Make your wording original and fresh. Be direct and forceful in taking your opinion without alienating the reader. Make it clear that you are taking a stand and are allied with a certain position. Do not, however, say, "It is my opinion that." The reader will know that the opinions in the essay are yours. Phrasing a sentence thus only makes for another dull and plodding sentence. If the ideas are not yours, they must be correctly documented. Make certain the length of your sentence is appropriate for the length of your paper. A 45-word thesis statement is too long for a 600-word essay. Your introductory paragraph should not consist only of a thesis. This paragraph introduces your thesis as well as the entire essay. The thesis statement should be one sentence only. A compound sentence is okay, but do not make it merely a string of independent clauses. Selective wording will eliminate a rambling sentence. Finally, never hesitate to revise your thesis statement at any stage in drafting your essay if you feel you can improve it. Even though it may mean additional adjustments in the body of the essay, your extra effort will usually pay off. You should make at least 2 revisions. Once you have created your thesis, you can move on to planning the middle or body of your essay. Be sure you watch the next episode that addresses the midsection.